Hello and welcome to the first episode of what I'm going to call Cursed Customs. These are custom painted model trains that I've made that are a little bit outside of the norm. So I will explain this one. This has received a little bit of attention lately, and I just finished this week. This is an Alco Models brass Sharknose that I have painted up in the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Fantasy Ice Cold Express paint scheme. It's a pretty interesting model. I really like the paint scheme on this one and on the Lionel model that it's based off of. I use this model as a test bed with my airbrush, just to kind of develop my technique. This is a second model that I've airbrushed, and it turned out okay. A few issues here and there. It could have been better. The main thing that I don't like is that the clear coat that I used a Krylon rattle can clear coat. And in doing so, I went ahead and gave myself this sort of orange peel texture, which is not noticeable. And it's only on this section of the locomotive. And it's not really noticeable when viewing the locomotive, like during normal angles and operations. It's only when you get it right in the light that you can see it. I have learned my lesson on that. I will not be using that to clear cut again, but that's okay. It was just a test. Everything else came out really nice and smooth. The white came out really good, and the green frame and fuel tank came out very smooth, and so the trucks came out great. It's just that top section there, and it's only on this side. The other side is orange peelish, but not as noticeable. But again, the camera's picking it up. The way that the green is shaded, I can't see this. I can't see the orange peel. But anyways, this is engine number 32 for 32 degrees Fahrenheit, because that's the temperature that water freezes, and this is the Ice Cold Express. Again, like I said, I use this as a test bed. The decal work came out really well. One thing, when masking this, I did the white first, and then I did the green next. And let me just, there we go. I did the white first, and then I did the green top and frame section here. Frame, it's actually all one piece. The only separate frame piece is actually the fuel tank, which is connected to a very thin brass frame. This part of the locomotive and this part of the locomotive is all the same. Anyways, I did the white first. I used Tamiya primer to prime this, and that worked out really well. Before I painted this, I went over it with a Dremel tool, a polishing buffer wheel, and buffed everything because it was in pretty rough condition, had some corrosion that I managed to take care of. So I did that. Then I sprayed it with the Tamiya primer. Once it was sprayed with the primer, I went over it in white, skull coat white, with the airbrush, which turned out really well. And you can see the white looks really cool, really good. Actually, this is great. This is all, again, my second airbrush model, and so I did the white, and then the next step was to do the green. I let the white paint set for over a day. However, I don't know if it was maybe oil on the locomotive or in my hands or something. Whenever I went to remove the white paint, I accidentally pulled up a patch of it, a very small patch, and you won't be able to see it because it was really tiny. So that's something that I'll have to look out for next time. And then, so when I went to mask it for the green, I just sort of followed the natural lines of the locomotive. Everything was very easy to mask for the green paint. There's a line that runs between this section here and the shell, or I guess on the real model, that I followed. So I just did that with one continuous mask, starting from the nose back. And then on this section, I just followed this line right here, and I just did a straight line across. And then on the Lionel model, the section of the locomotive is green. I tried and tried and tried to get that to work, but I could not. The way that the RF-16 is, it's curvy and angled and straight all at the same time, and I'm just not that good of a masker to mask that off. So I just decided to go with a full white cab, and I started at the door, and I just went straight up and across. And actually the mask on this turned out really well, except for right around the door. I don't know why that happened. That shouldn't have happened. It's not quite perfect. Everything else is really well done, surprisingly. Even on the line going along the roof, but the door got just fibbed or flubbed a little bit. Oh well, you live and you learn. Looking at the other side, we'll get to the nose in a second. You can see again, came out beautiful. Only issue here was that I left off some green there, and I'll touch that up. Excuse me, whenever I get around to it. Again, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see I have a little F there for the front. This actually has places for grab irons. I removed them a long time ago, and I didn't put them back on. And if I did, it would have made doing the decal job a lot harder. But I do have a drill bit on the way to install some grabs using tissue wire. I don't have a small enough drill bit to drill those holes out, so it'll just have to have no grab irons right now. But there's some on the cab and on the door here. Going to the front. The front came out okay. On the brass model, there's sort of a keystone type of shape, and that caused my decal lines to do some really weird things. It's correct in the sense of the decals are straight and they're following where they need to go, but it caused the decals to do some weird things. Oh well, it's not really supposed to have a Santa Fe stripe there, but it did. You know, it does look good. You know, it does look, you know, pretty good. Again, I got 32 on the number boards as well. That was very easy. I used a combination of 2 or 3 different Santa Fe and BNSF decal sheets to achieve the striping. The decaling was pretty easy. All that was just using a straight edge and putting the decal on, and the decals went on really well. That's the great thing about micro scale decals, is that they are the best in the world. And I mean, really, I can't say enough good things about micro scale decals and micro sol and the whatever the blue one is. The 2 micro scale solutions are great. And my technique, I normally will, so I got the white and the green on the model. I then went over with a crystal clear enamel clear coat, which did cause the orange bill. I don't really know why that happened, because I've used that before, but for some reason that happened. Anyways, I go over with a that clear coat, the crystal clear, which gives the model a glossy finish. Then I put the decals on. Then once the decals are on and set, I go back over the model again with that glossy enamel paint. Doing that prevents the decals from silvering. As you can see, it looks like the BNSF is painted right on. And actually, the color is a pretty close color match. The color for the green is about 80% Pennsylvania Railroad Brunswick green and about 20% Penn Central green. And then that's about a 70% paint to a 30% thinner ratio, maybe a little bit more thinner than that. It's very easy to mix in the pot. I spray this at 60 psi. I found that works really well. The painting does take a while because I try to do really light coats, so it does take a while to get the paint on. And the rear, the rear can't, for some reason, I guess I forgot to paint the rear, so I actually masked off this entire area, but I forgot to paint this vestibule green. So when I was spraying, I guess some of the fumes or something, some of the excess got on that. It's kind of cool almost, like the side's green, but then this is this cream green color, so I'll leave it like that. You can see some of the decals are kind of ran around the side here. I had to cut those off using a hobby knife, so I'm going to go back over those with white paint to correct that. And of course the steps are white, it's just a cool cursed locomotive. It does run really well. This has an open frame motor and brass gears. I gave it an LED headlight. I'm going to give it, I'm going to put Microsol Crystal Clear in the windows to give it glass, and also in the nose to give it a lens. But anyways, there it is. There's your Burlington Northern Santa Fe RF16 Ice Cold Express.